Alright, so it is raining pretty good here, so I apologize if that's making the sound quality a little less. Um, Anyhow, going into race number one finally, I was having an absolute ball between the drivers' meeting and the my first race because I showed up there with my truck running, as commented before, up around 500 horsepower, having a locker. I I went up there pretty confident that I was going to do pretty well because time had frozen in my mind and things were still what they were when I had to stop racing in 2012. So I felt like I actually was going to do pretty good. Everybody I encountered thought it was hilarious that here's this crazy dude running his daily driver that looks like it belongs in the show and shine, not the mud drags. In the mud drags, and in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I got all this power. I'm gonna do great. Um, Again, time had frozen in my mind because it was other dudes with trail rigs, at least in the class I was in at that point, and again, time had frozen in my mind, and it wasn't. And every single one of these trucks I race are just nasty mud trucks, which is what I'll be building up the white trash money with money truck to be, for anyone interested in following that. But I don't want to get too deep into that build here. Anyway, as I line up to the line, it's already really begun to hit me that maybe I am crazy for putting my daily driver through this. But again, time froze into my mind, and I knew I could afford to fix whatever mud may damage. All I had to do was be smart enough to not roll my truck and be smart enough to wash it off afterward, and anything that broke doing what I was doing, I could afford to fix. So, no regrets at this point, but I definitely, pulling up to the line for the first time, had a lot of those regrets in my head because time had not frozen. This mud was considerably deeper than what I had raced in previously, and these were not woods rigs that I was up against. These were guys who built their trucks to do this. And I didn't stand a prayer. And that kind of benefited me in this race. Like I said, I'm not going to, well, I haven't said yet, but I'm not going to comment on other drivers' trucks or their performances because that's just none of my, it has nothing to do with my experience. So I'm just commenting on mine. These were all built mud trucks that I'm racing. They were all guys that knew what they were doing. The only thing I had going for me was I was the guy with nothing to lose because my 500 horsepower was not absurd for the small block V8 class that I was in. My 35-inch Ironmans for the small block V8 class were not the professional bogger tires that you'll see on a lot of these trucks if you can see their tread in these videos. Back when I was racing 6-cylinder class with that Bronco 2 I built when I was younger, Seeing boggers in the V6 class was fairly rare. But that's the best mud tire, and that's what all these guys, or most of them, were on. So suddenly I didn't stand a prayer, and the only prayer I stood was I was the guy with nothing to lose, and I was just out there to have a good time. So I was very aggressive with the timing tree, but pulling up to the line for this first time, realizing what I was up against, seeing the wide open class go through the mud that had been there. They go first because of the insane horsepower the wide open class has. They go first because if the lanes are rutted up badly, they could potentially, with the horsepower they have, someone could get hurt. So for safety reasons, they run first. So I had seen these lanes run. They were nasty, 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 just as we were promised in the drivers' meeting. And I definitely had some unexpressed remorse for making such a big deal out of being there for this walk down memory lane, and being willing to pay the price for it. In the long run, I wasn't crazy, but I definitely had my thoughts there, especially as I pull up to the line for the first time and see just how deep these ruts are, just how nasty this track is, that it was everything we were promised. My thoughts lining up against this awesome truck I'm up against is that I just hope I don't get embarrassed. I hope I don't get stuck in front of a crowd. So I will comment on the race before it happens. I am actually rather impressed with how my truck hooked up. The advanced traction control that Ford put in their FX4 package really impressed me, as well as pretty much everybody there, because I did very well considering I was hoping to just not get embarrassed. So anyway, here's race number 1. Let's get into it. Alright, race number 1. This is Saturday, the first race of the day. Small block, small tire, which means 35-inch tire or less, and it has to be DOT approved. No cutting the tires up or anything like that to make them better in the mud. So anyway, small block V8 again. Anyway, here we go.